I missed a video, but by the time it's all said and done, nobody's gonna know that. But in the pretense of keeping it live and on time, I'm just letting you know I just didn't feel like recording yesterday. What would this be then? A E, F, this will be part F. And I failed, see? Alright. Woody Allen said, "More than any time in history, mankind faces a crossroads. One path leads to despair, and the other, utter hopelessness. The other, darn it, I can't even read tonight either, huh? One path leads to despair and utter hopelessness, the other to total extinction. Let us pray that we have the wisdom to choose correctly." Accountability. To the degree the events of the world happen to us, we are powerless pawns in a game of chance. The most we can do is hope, have lots of insurance, and buy emergency food supplies. To the degree that we know that we have something to do with what happens to us, we gain authority, influence, and control over our lives. We see that by changing our attitudes and actions, we can change what happens to us. In a word, we become accountable. When something happens to you, you can explore it and probably see that you had something to do with its taking place. You either created it, promoted it, or at the very least allowed it. To remember the words create, promote, and allow, just remember CPA, accountant, accountability. When you look for areas of accountability, please don't start with the biggest disaster in your life. Start with the daily slings and arrows that flesh is heir to. Look for accountability. Looking for accountability is like exercise. Don't try to run a marathon if, like me, you've been sedentary for 20 years, and supine in the 20 years before that. Pick a simple, it happened to me event, misplacing your keys, the plumber not showing up, running out of gas, and see how you might have had something to do with creating, promoting, or allowing it to happen. Helpful hints. 1. Go back in time. We love to begin our victim stories with, or at the point of, it starts happening to us. Well, when you know, or when the you-know-what hits the fan and the fan is running, Jesus Lord. I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time reading tonight. Anyway. Okay, we tell our victim stories at the point of it starts happening to us. You know, when the shit hits the fan and the fan's running. Okay. If you start at an earlier point, however, you will see that you promised yourself to always put your keys in the same place, but didn't. The plumber was not known for his reliability, and the low gas indicator light on your car had been on for so long that you thought your car was solar powered. Oh, what 2? What was I pretending not to know? What intuitive flashes did you ignore? I'd better get some spare keys made as you passed the hardware store a month ago. This guy's not going to show when you first spoke to the plumber. I'd better get some gas as you pass the 35th gas station since the gas indicator light came on. We all pretend to know less than we really know. Into all this comes a perfectly good word, and has been given a bad rap: responsibility. Responsibility means simply the ability to respond. Most people, however, use it to mean blame. Who's responsible for this? In any situation, we have the ability to respond, and our response will make the situation either better or worse. Whichever way it goes, we have the ability to respond again and again and again. By expressing our ability to respond and watching the results closely, we can, if we choose, lift almost any situation. One ability to respond we always have is how we react inside to what's going on outside. The world can be falling apart around us, but that doesn't mean we have to fall apart ourselves. It's okay to feel good when things go bad. See chapter on taking charge. True accountability has 3 parts. First, acknowledge that you have something to do with what's happened, even if you're not sure what that might be. Ask yourself, how might I have created it, promoted it, or allowed this? And the answer may surprise you. Second, explore your response options. In other words, become response able. And third, take a corrective action. The more accountability you found at the first step, the more corrective action you may want to take. On the other hand, your corrective action might be getting out of the way and letting those who are more accountable than you take care of things. If you spilt the glass of milk, clean up the milk. If the milk truck spills the milk all over the highway, get off the highway. And remember, you create, promote, or allow all the good things that happen to you too. How would you say it? His last name is Vidal. There's no human problem which could not be solved if people would simply do as I advise. Franklin P. Jones said, honest criticism is hard to take, particularly from a relative, a friend, an acquaintance, or a stranger. It's true. How to survive the loss of love. There's a quote from this book. It says, when an emotional injury takes place, the body begins a process as natural as the healing of a physical wound. Let the process happen. Trust that nature will do the healing. Know that the pain will pass, and when it passes, you will be stronger, happier, more sensitive, and aware. Good Mourning is the name of the chapter. This is a lifetime of goodbyes. In our time, we will say goodbye to cherished people, things, and ideas. Eventually, we'll say goodbye to life itself with our death. Learn to say goodbye. Say a good goodbye. Allow yourself to mourn each loss. As with a physical wound, the body has its own schedule for healing, and it will tell you when it has healed. Understanding the process of recovering from an emotional wound is valuable, not necessarily as a technique for accelerating the healing process, but more as an assurance that, no matter what stage of recovery you are in, all is well. There are 3 distinct, yet overlapping phases of recovery. We will go through each phase, no matter what the loss. The only difference is duration and intensity of the feeling. In a minor loss, we can experience all 3 stages in a few minutes. In a major loss, the recovery process can take years. The first stage is shock, denial, numbness. Our bodies and emotions numb themselves to the pain. The mind denies the loss. Often, the words we utter after hearing of a loss are, oh no, or it can't be. The second stage is fear, anger, depression. Oh, we are angry at whatever or whoever caused the loss, including the person who left. We often turn that anger against ourselves and feel guilt over something we did or did not do. This assignment of blame, either outer or inner, is not always rational. The depression state of recovery is the sadness often associated with loss, the tears, the hurt, the desolation. We fear the pain will never end and that we will never love or be loved again. The third phase is understanding, acceptance, moving on. We realize that life goes on. That loss is a part of life, and that our life can and will be complete without the presence of what was lost. We also realize by going through the first 2 stages of recovery, we have learned a great deal about ourselves, and we are a better person for the experience. If we don't allow ourselves the time to heal, some of our ability to experience life is frozen, locked away. It is unavailable for the up experiences we enjoy, happiness, contentment, and love. The part of us that feels the anger and depression is the same part that feels the peace and the love. If you refuse to feel the anger and the pain of a loss, you will not be able to feel anything else until that area heals. In other words, stay out of your own way. Let yourself feel bad, if you want to feel bad, and feel joy too. Healing is taking place. Give yourself the gift of healing. footnote says, you may want to read How to Survive the Loss of a Love by Melba Colgrove, Ph.D. And me? Apparently he authored another book with somebody. Awesome. I don't know if the 800 number still works, but it's 1-800-LIFE-101. He's still doing good in the world, I suppose. Spanish proverb says, I don't want the cheese. I just want to get out of the trap. Learn to let go. How does one avoid loss in the first place? Contrary to proper belief, it is not attachment that causes loss. Attachment feels fine. It's detachment that hurts. Learn to let go. Some suggest that to avoid loss, one should never be attached to anything. They give the example of a hand in water. When the hand is removed from the water, the hand leaves no impression. These people say the reason the hand leaves no trace in the water is because the water is not attached to the hand. On the contrary, while the hand is in the water, it is very attached to the hand, surrounding, enfolding, and embracing it. Allow yourself to experience life as fully as water experiences the hand. Then, as completely, let go. Yes, the water leaves a little of itself on the departing hand, as we leave a little of ourselves with the people and the things we touch. For the most part, however, when it comes time to let go, let go. The hand can no more hold the water than the water can hold the hand. As soon as one wants to leave, there is no attachment. Hand and water both accept the inevitability and part clean. There is a title for a book on raising children I've always liked. Hold them very close and let them go. I find this advice good for all experiences. Hold them very close and let them go. Franz Kafka said, you do not need to leave your room. Remain sitting at your table and listen. Do not even listen, simply wait. Do not even wait. Be quiet, still, and solitary. The world will freely offer itself to you to be unmasked. It has no choice. It will roll in ecstasy at your feet. Observation. You might think of observation as meditation of acceptance. You sit and simply accept everything that happens, both inner and outer. Consider, almost the only time you want to respond to something outside of yourself is when something inside demands it. What is that inner demand? What is the voice or voices that insist you do this or run away from that? Why do you sometimes follow the voice automatically, maybe even subconsciously? The answers to these questions lie in observation. To observe, don't do anything. Simply notice the inner process. The voices demanding you do this, move there, or scratch that, whatever may rise to a screaming crescendo, don't do anything. Continue to observe. At first, observation is best practiced alone. Set a timer. Start with, say, 5 minutes and build up. Sit in a comfortable position. Close your eyes and tell yourself, I'm not going to move my body until the timer goes off. And then sit and observe. The inner voices may start quietly, but as they feel ignored, they tend to get louder. And one may want you to shift your position. Don't. Observe the voice demanding that you shift. One might want you to scratch an itch. Don't. Observe the itch. Observe the emotional reaction to not scratching the itch. It's my body. I can scratch if I want to. Observe it all. If the phone rings, observe the desire to answer it. Don't answer it. Observe it. Observe your inner reaction to the outer ringing. Observation may sound easy on paper. The inner voices that don't want to lose control often say at this point, oh, that would be no problem for us. We don't need to do that exercise. Try it and see. As we increase the amount of time we observe while sitting still, we can then start observing while moving around. Time for a pop quiz. Observation shows us A. Our inner reactions to outer experiences. B. That it's our reaction to what happens around us and not what happens around us that motivates us. C. The demands the voices make, blah. D. That we don't have anything to do with it or about the voices. E. That we don't have anything to do about most outer experiences. F. All of the above. Observation leads us to a point of neutrality, a place where we don't have to react, either positively or negatively, to any situation. We simply are. Neutrality is not neuter, nor is it like neutral in a car. We can engage our gears and move ahead and remain neutral. In fact, when we're not reacting almost reflexively to this, that, and everything, our action becomes more effective. We can maintain an inner calm and still be dynamically involved. Another way of viewing this is observation disconnects our buttons. We know that when someone pushes our button, we react. Push, react, push, react, push, react. We are no longer in control. The person or thing pushing the button is. Through observation, we'll notice that it's not the pushing of the button, but our reaction to the pushing that causes our response. Eventually, by intentionally not responding and simply observing, we dissolve the push-react connection. We'll discuss this in parts 4 and 5 of ways of reconnecting the buttons to the responses that you want. Think of observing as obviously serving yourself, and neutral as new trails of freedom, fun, and adventure. Alan Watts. Trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth. G. Norman Cawley says, every man has one thing he can do better than anyone else, and it's usually reading his own handwriting. Leonard Cohen, I think it's a song, Famous Blue Raincoat. I hear that you're building your house deep in the desert. Are you living for nothing now? I hope you're keeping some kind of record. Keep a record of your progress. Record each day in some way. The lessons you learn, the good that you do, the good that happens to you, the insights you have, anything else that seems of importance or interest. The classical way of recording such things is, of course, a journal or a diary. Keep a diary and someday your diary will keep you, said Mae West. Your record-keeping need not, however, be that formal. You might have a box into which you toss mementos and letters, matchbook covers, etc., and dated notes to yourself. Oh, time out. I started writing letters to my future self when I was 16. It was cute. Well, I was such a Christian, I even scolded myself, are you still a Christian? You know he's the way. Well, I'm not a Christian anymore, but it's so interesting to look back on your life. So if you're young, give it a shot. Write letters to yourself about what you think is important now and what you want to remember. And then later on, look back. I love this idea. Well, sorry, didn't mean to cut in. Check time. So, okay, not much longer. I'm probably going to do a second recording as well, just to catch up. What do you call that? Make up my points there, because I failed. In this electronic age, you might keep a file in your computer. Using your word processor, you can include copies of your best letters, poems, etc. in your journal file, and then use the best from your electronic journals and letters and manuscripts and so on. You can use a tape recorder and debrief yourself each evening, or take one along and record things as they happen. You could try a video log. Sit in front of a video camera each day and talk about the previous 24 hours, or record a voiceover as the camera explores your physical memorabilia of that day. Oh my gosh, this man should have been in the Today Times. The key here, as with all of my suggestions, and for that matter, life itself, is flexibility and fun. The second key, do whatever you'll consistently do. Don't start an epic production that will be abandoned in a short while, with the best intentions of returning to it, of course. Build up to that. For now, you might start scribbling a note or two in the margins of this book as you go along. Irving Wallace said, "To be oneself and unafraid, whether right or wrong, is more admirable than the easy cowardice of surrender to conformity." Gail Wilhelm said, "I'm going to turn on the light, and we'll be two people in a room looking at each other and wondering why on earth we were afraid of the dark." Light. If you used the light before, you know whether or not it works for you. This will be a reminder. If you've never used light, then consider this chapter the parameters of an experiment. Please neither believe nor disbelieve that this tool is effective. Simply try it in a variety of situations and see what happens. Using the light is very easy. You simply ask that the light, you can imagine it as clear, pure light, white light, be sent somewhere for the highest good of all concerned. That's it. That's using the light. In fact, light can't be sent. It's all around all the time, everywhere, anyway. In a sense, it's as silly to send light as it is to send air. When I was traveling in Israel, however, I did buy a can of air from the Holy Land. We do ask that the light that's already there or here to do this thing for the highest good. And how do we know the light worked? Well, sometimes the situation changes. Sometimes our attitude about the situation changes. Sometimes both. Things might not change the way we want them to change. The light is not a big bellhop in the sky. It will not do what you want at the expense of others or yourself. As Oscar Wilde pointed out, when the gods choose to punish us, they merely answer our prayers. To have all of our desires fulfilled would be a curse. That's where the highest good comes in. We don't always know what the highest good is. We often think we do, or feel we do, but haven't our thoughts and feelings been wrong in the past? That's why I suggested that. When you use the light, add, for the highest good of all concerned. The highest good is the safety clause. We don't want to play sorcerer's apprentice with ours or other person's lives. Using the light doesn't require an elaborate ritual or procedure. It takes almost no time. You can get it down to 3 words. Light, highest good. If you're concerned about someone or something, light, highest good, to the concern, and let it go. Well, then if you choose, do something about improving the situation. If you choose not to get physically involved, send the light and let it go. You've done all you can do, which you may find is quite a lot. In what situations can you use the light? In what situations can you use air? I can't imagine a situation in which you couldn't use the light. Just before dropping off to sleep, some people ask for the light to fulfill, surround, fill, protect, bless, and heal them for their highest good and the highest good of all concerned. When they wake up, they ask the light to not only be with them, but to also go ahead of them, preparing the day for their highest good. Using light is not a religion any more than using air is a religion. People who claim light as an exclusive part of their doctrine might as well claim that only its believers can enjoy the benefits of air. The light can be used as an adjunct to any religious or spiritual path you're on, or can be used in a purely secular way. Essentially, using the light becomes as automatic as breathing. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You probably enjoyed the whole thing better than I did on that. Well, like I said, I should probably start adding critique, but then that ruins the whole magic of the story, and everyone's like, wait, is she introducing some kind of outward thought? Listen, lady, You clicked on a video made by an insane Zen mistress. I'm narrating a book, though. Okay, I'm doing my part. Excuse me. Alright, good night. I'll be back in a few. Bye.